You are tuning into the Unprofessional Marketing Series. This is a series of 8 conversations where I am interviewing experts in their fields to talk about marketing strategies that the gurus don't teach you. So tune in and listen to these experts as they share advice on how you can market your business unprofessionally. Welcome to another episode of the Unprofessional Marketing Series, and I am so excited to introduce you all to Latesha Lynch. She is the face behind Her Marketing Coach, and she is all things adaptable marketing. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but just know if you are someone who knows using only one marketing platform isn't it, but you also don't want to be spending 10 hours a week on content creation, this is the episode for you. All right, thank you so much for being here. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. Hey, y'all. My name is Latesha Lynch. I am an adaptable marketing and content strategist. And I specifically serve women who are done with launch stress, who hate high pressure marketing strategies that don't fit their life. I'm very much known for my flexible, profitable marketing strategies. I prefer that approach because I feel like we need more sustainability with how we're doing our marketing. I am so tired. Y'all are tired. We're all tired, but we still need money. And so I believe that we should build sustainable lead generation systems that bring in consistent sales without you running yourself into the ground. That's me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Obviously, I love that. Flexibility is a core value of my business. And, I call it unprofessional marketing. I had Jamar Diggs on who has the low lift marketing, and now we're talking adaptable marketing. So
Yeah.
you can tell my audience, we're not about the post 5 times a day. We're here to make the money without driving ourselves insane.
Yeah.
But you've been in business for a minute, right? You started in corporate marketing before you started your own business?
I did. Yeah. Corporate marketing was 2006. So it's been a minute. Like next year will literally be 20 years. That's so free. I can't wait to finally say that. I'm like, I've been in business doing this since 2006. It's been like 18, 19. I could say 20 next year. Isn't that wild?
That is wild,
Yeah.
mostly because
Yeah.
2006 I was in elementary school.
I was in high school. And then
I'm
I
like,
started
what?
this business in 2020, officially 2020. So yeah, it's been a minute for all of the things.
Yeah. I was just I don't think I even knew what marketing was 20 years ago. But I love that. That's great. And what kind of marketing were you doing before you started your business?
So in corporate, I was the person running email marketing. I did
Mm.
events. I did launches, which is funny. That's why I chose to do that here, but virtually, which was also weird because it was like trade shows and we were like schmoozing with people and having dinners and old school events. Also I did all of the like content always. I was the social media person. I did the website, managed the website, content, copywriting, all the things because they were like, oh, you went to school for design, so do our website, design our swag, plan our events, go to the trade shows, help the sales team. So yeah, I did all of the things. That's kind of why when I started my business, I'm like, this is easy because I did all of this in corporate.
This is where I look at corporate job postings or even company postings for marketing sometimes, and I'm like, you want someone to
Everything.
do everything.
Yeah.
Website, copy, content, ads,
And when they
emails.
find out you can do that stuff, they try to get you to. I came from startups though, so startups are like us but
Mm.
bigger. So they
Mhm.
don't have any money. They like
Yeah.
want to look like they have money so that they can get investors, but they don't have. They're broke, brokety broke.
I can respect the hustle of a startup, but when it's a corporation and they're paying you
Oh
minimum
yeah,
wage, I'm like, no.
or you need like years of experience, but you're gonna only pay me for like entry level. Like, excuse me.
Yeah, nah, I don't think so. Um, but I feel like you've brought in all of this well-rounded experience to now what you do now, which is, like you said, adaptable marketing. You're not out here preaching the Instagram marketing only or email marketing only. You talk about
Yeah.
what do you use? What do you call it? The marketing ecosystem?
Yeah, I very
Hmm.
much believe you should have the full ecosystem. Well, now I'm telling everyone to build like a lead generation system, but it's just having like SEO, email, and social, or something for visibility that can replace social, because I don't believe everybody has to have social if they hate it either. So I'm very, very strong in my beliefs of don't torture yourself, but you have to figure this out. So you can't just not be visible. Are you going to pay for it with ads? Are you going to take someone else's network by speaking engagements, guesting? But something has to replace social, but you don't need that. But you need to have the wide range of things, the diversity in
Mhm.
your marketing for sure. If you don't want to live on the internet or do something obnoxious too much because you don't have any other options.
I feel like I already know your answer to this question, but I also want to ask it anyways. And that is, I'd love to hear your opinion on the advice of master one platform before moving on to another one.
You know, I like the logic of it because I work with diverse like people. Like I work with people with different like energy, capacities, personalities. And so often I feel like business owners who don't have marketing backgrounds get very distracted when they're trying to get on multiple platforms. So I don't believe that people can, if they don't have the energy and mental capacity for realizing that it's not necessarily the platform that you're on, it's just
Hmm.
whatever you've already said, you can like, it's just knowing what to do there. You don't have to master it. I don't think anybody needs to master these platforms. They're platforms. You need to master the marketing strategies behind leveraging them so that you can leverage any platform, because clearly they just disappear and get stolen off the internet. So I think it makes more sense to master strategies rather than obsessing too much over platforms, because also those platforms and those companies change what they care about and change what they prioritize. So you're getting a master's degree in Instagram or LinkedIn, and then the next month they're like, we decided that none of that's relevant anymore. So um but I do believe that you shouldn't be so gung ho to just pop up on a bunch of platforms when you haven't been successfully getting leads or clients from the one that you're on in the first place. So I hope I surprised you with my answer.
I feel like your answer is a bit like don't rely on only one, but don't write off using one just because you don't instantly like it, but also be patient.
I definitely don't think you should rely. I don't think that you should build your entire business around one platform. Definitely
Mhm.
not. And I think you should have a go-to platform that you feel comfortable and confident behind, because I think it makes it easier for you to show up. But I like diversifying marketing. A big part of my platform is diversifying. And it's because I think multiple platforms serve different purposes. Like you and I both like Threads, right? Well, Threads is like my secondary, but I like it because it's really chill. But
Mhm.
Instagram is like my go-to, and Instagram requires a lot of crap. So sometimes I just like, I don't want to do this, and I just don't. And then I'm like, Threads, hey guy, hey Threads. And that means I still make money on social without being depressed because I have to be stuck on the one. So I like that I'm not beholden to a specific app. They don't have me in a chokehold. But also, I know when I need to make money, I know I can go right on Instagram. I know exactly what to do because I do have a platform that I have figured out really well, and I'm very comfortable with it.
Do you feel like most of the people who come to you, clients or entrepreneurs that you talk to, whatever, do you feel like they're prioritizing the platforms that they should be prioritizing in their marketing?
No, I definitely don't.
The
And
head
I'll
shake
say
it.
this,
Mm-mm.
everyone prioritizes social media. And while I think social media is the fast track to making money, it's not the stable, most sustainable thing that you can do all the time. And what happens is I think people forget the most important things that are at the foundation of marketing, like the SEO stuff is actually one of the most important things you can do. It's just boring and you don't really see what you want to see from it when you think you're going to get instant gratification. Is not one of those types of things. But it is the thing that when you get sick or you randomly are depressed and need to ghost your platforms, that thing will actually still be working for you on your behalf. Having email, yeah, you might not want to send a weekly newsletter because who does? I mean, some people really hate that. However, having that email list does serve a really important purpose when you need it. Like if I was looking kind of crazy, or maybe I had a surgery, or maybe I got a, facial peel, like when you get a face the peel and then you look crazy for like a month, but you're like a video person. Well, I'm not going to be on video. Yeah, I just got a chemical peel. Well, email, I could still sell and do all the things. They don't know how crazy I look right now, and it doesn't matter. So it's just like, I don't think people realize that when you get stuck somewhere, you have no insurance policy for your business. And that's what I think is the major problem. Yeah, I think that they prioritize the wrong thing. They're like, social, social, social. Well, what about the things that help you when you inevitably get tired of social media, or
Mm,
when your account gets hacked or something stupid? Like, it's the most easy thing to get stolen from you, and the thing that you don't control. We have no control over it. We can control distribution to our email list because when you press send, it does send it to every one of those people. But you can't control that on social media. You just can't. So yeah, I just feel like they prioritize things that they can't control and then complain that they don't have control over it. Yeah.
I love that. Do you have a preference when recommending email or SEO to start?
I prefer that people start with SEO.
Mm,
The reason why is it can take, it's not true now. It used to be very true that it took a long time, but it doesn't take very long. And it gives you people who don't have to subscribe. They don't have to be a follower. They don't have to be on a specific platform. They can find you. And people who are searching SEO, search engine, that means that they searched for something, but they were searching because they needed help. They searched because they wanted a solution and they knew exactly what solution they were looking for. So you're more likely to attract someone who is not only ready to buy, but already knows what they should be buying. They're just looking for the right person to purchase it from. And if I were in a dire situation, like maybe I couldn't show up on social for a month because something happened, I would be feeling good because I know that I did prioritize SEO. And so that stuff is going to work regardless. People will still find you. And every platform now prefers keywords and stuff. So now you get on social media and they're like keywords. And it's like, what? Now it's here. I didn't ask for this. They're like, I'm going to LinkedIn. I hate Instagram. Well, LinkedIn is a search platform for jobs and employers and employees. So if they prefer search, you can't avoid it. So yeah, SEO, it gives you a skill set that you don't realize you need for everything else anyway. So it's just get that skill set and get found when you ghost your social, because we know you're going to. We all do it. We all ghost our social profiles.
Very true. I think no matter how dedicated you are, there's going to be a time that you end up ghosting and it'll
One.
be out of your control.
Or you could just be living your life and you don't want your phone, or your mate is like, or your mate or your kid or your family is like, get off your phone, and you're going to feel
Yeah.
bad. So yeah, it could be bad, it could be good, but get off your phone sometimes, and you're going to be like, but I need money because that's the only place I get it. Well, there we go.
I'd like to talk about how using all of these platforms together builds the omnipresent marketing strategy. And they're not all individual pieces, right? Like they're all eventually working together, or you're moving people through the funnel, right? So what's your approach to building a functional omnipresence strategy?
So lately, I've called it something because it didn't click until like the end of last year. I've been calling it like inception marketing, because like the
Okay.
movie Inception is like a dream within a dream within a dream. Well, technically, you're marketing any piece of content that you're putting out wherever it sits, or wherever your copy or whatever your marketing channels are. That should lead to something, and then it should lead to something else, so that there is always constantly like a cycle of people being nurtured, sold to, or a lead generating, or your brand being built or connecting with that person. And so I started thinking about, how does that system look, or how does that look for people? How should it look? And so if we start where I said like SEO, that would be usually your website, right? It's going to generate from your website. Well, on your website, there are different things that people maybe not be thinking about, but it helps you, right? So if I think about the passive things that will help with omnipresence. So like, I can't always be selling and marketing my lead magnet, but I would love for people to kind of get on my list maybe every day if I could. So what can help that? a pop-up could help that from, my email system, and having it in the footer and having it on my homepage. Those little things are evergreen, or things that I don't have to actively do. It's passive, but it does a job for me. When I think about setting up my social profiles, there's features that allow people to look and discover things that they need when they need it. So, like, if I took LinkedIn, there's the featured section. There's a call to action link that you can have that follows your profile, so that when you comment, they see that along with your headline. Like, they have banners and different things that you can leverage that people often don't set up. Now, I'll look at their account, I'm like, you don't even have your featured set up. There's nothing there. And I'm like, your lead magnet should be there. Your main services should be there. Like, those things are your advertisements on your profile, so that when some rando comes to your LinkedIn profile, they can easily navigate on their own without you constantly posting. I don't post anything on my LinkedIn, but people do things from there. And I'm like, it's because it's set up like a billboard everywhere. If you go to my YouTube channel, I hate YouTube. I'm using it because it has a really good function, but I don't like it. But it is a great SEO platform. Well, when you get to my account, I made a new trailer, and I'm sharing examples so that I can kind of tell you how it kind of connects. All of these platforms give you descriptions, captions, cover art, all these things. And if you're not making sure that you're pointing them to the next thing that they should be doing, that omnipresence won't feel easy to manage, because you are individually going to each thing and constantly having to shout from the rooftops about something. You're constantly having to send emails. I don't like constantly sending emails. I hate when people teach you to send all these emails to get attention during a launch or when you're marketing. I'm like, I don't want to. So how do I avoid that? And it becomes you setting up systems. Like, how can I passively do it first? I set up passive. I get pop-ups, I get profiles, I get email sequences that are automated, I get lead magnets. I set those things up first, so that then when I actively market, that kind of feeds that machine. And then when I take a break, that machine was already fed, and there's people already kind of hanging out and they're doing things. So I'm going to still get money. And I still have leads kind of coming in daily, because those nosy people get to my site where there's a pop-up or something hitting them with what they need. And that's what I feel about Omnipresence. I feel like that system is just you making sure that when you spend the time, the few times you have to make content, that it is doing a very specific job, to not just stop there with that one piece, but to lead them to other things and let them navigate and fall into your that's why I call it an ecosystem, because it is. It's like, you're in here, you're stuck with me, but you get to choose and navigate, because people should make their own buying decisions. They make them faster when you're not trying to force them to buy what you want them to buy. They will go where they need to go based on your content, and that content, if it's doing its job, will convert them for you. So then when it comes to a launch, if you decide to do one, you're not desperate, because most of the time that ecosystem has already fed them, and it's already been navigating them to making their own decisions. So a lot of them will have done so. Hope that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. And you just reminded me that at some point I had a concept that I never fleshed out, and it, like, I couldn't ever properly explain it. So then I gave up on it. But essentially that, like, your omnipresence, your marketing system is like a wheel, and that you're constantly turning people around the wheel. And I was trying to, like, integrate how, like, you're repurposing your content so you don't have to create for all of them. And I could never make it work to make sense. But essentially,
it makes sense. It does.
Essentially, you're feeding people. Like, people can come in from wherever they come from. They can find you on YouTube, they can find you on LinkedIn, they can find you on Threads. And then you're sending them around the wheel of, like, go to my podcast, go to my YouTube channel, go to my email list, go to my website. And, like, all of those will have the opportunity to sell, the opportunity to educate. And, like, you just move people through the buyer's journey by moving them through your content on different platforms. And I always brought up, like, I feel like it's died down, but the people who would be like, oh, people find me and buy from me in 5 minutes. And I'm like, they only do that if you have enough content for them to binge.
Exactly. That's the part. The bingeable stuff is the start of my system is bingeable content. And I'm like, they need to spend time with you. You don't want to spend the time with them. You want to in To be honest, it's like we want to, but we can't. We
Mm-hmm.
realistically can't spend that quality time with every person. So we need something to spend the time. Is why you have a podcast. I have a podcast. It's why some people like blogging. Like you have to figure out what's going to spend that artificial time that they need to build the trust that you can't afford because you're a one person. And so you need things to spend time. So having that omnipresence is what gives the time that they need and also the format that they like to consume in. The reason we don't know where they're coming in from is because they're all different. We
Mm-hmm.
have profiles and buyer personas, but those are individual human beings with different personalities. I love a podcast, but I go live. I don't watch anyone's live. I hate people's live video, but I go live because my audience likes it and I don't mind it. I just don't consume them. I hate YouTube, but my people do a lot of their research on YouTube. And when I need help with something like tech wise on one of these 57 apps I use, I go to YouTube because I don't want to read about it. Just show me real quick so I can get it done. We know where our people are getting information and also consuming. You got to be there then once you know that. Like you have to know that information, and then you have to have presence. It's why people like you exist. It's like, well, if you don't have the time for the presence, but you have content that could be present there, then let someone do it for you. But at some point, you're going to have to figure out where presence needs to happen. And you're going to have to put yourself and insert your business there for the people to find you. And then let it do its job. Content is content for a reason. But if you spend all your time doing 10-second content, it's doing
Mm-hmm.
nothing. You need 52 pieces of that. If you did more substantive content, then you wouldn't have to work so hard.
I think it's really funny that you said you'd watch YouTube videos to learn something because I'm the one who wants to read a blog post. I'm like, oh,
See,
don't give me
everyone is
a
different.
video.
I don't want to watch the video. Now, I'm not saying I didn't 2x their video because 2x.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear you talking. I just want you to get to the point. And YouTube gives you the chapter, so I can just get to the point. I don't want your intro. I don't want to know your bio.
I
don't care.
2x it and I mute you. I read your subtitles.
Oh yeah, and if you don't have subtitles, I'm stressed. I need to. I have ADHD, so sometimes I'm looking at the person, but I don't think I'm listening. But I do read the subtitles. I need multiple distractions to help me pay attention to you. You have to talk faster, and I need subtitles. So I don't think I'm actually absorbing the information. If you don't have a subtitle, I can't even watch the video. Stories, please, for the love of all, put subtitles. Put the captions, please. I can't. I'm not listening to your story. I like.
And you know what became the downfall for me, because I used to be a big Instagram stories person, was the 60-second stories, because everyone started using the auto caption. I'm not waiting the 60 seconds for your text to load as you talk. The whole point of stories was I could freeze it, read what you wrote, and skip.
Yeah. We used to take our time to put text on the screen for the people. We did. Yeah, I've gotten lazy with that. I'm like, here, I'll put like a little title so you can kind of get a little vibe. But yeah, we're lazy now. We're like, can we do captions? Oh yeah, it's torture. And then Instagram doesn't give you the 2x like TikTok.
No,
worst,
no 2x.
Worst user experience ever. Let us 2x. No one's listening to these people talk at normal speed. They did give it to us in the DMs though, which is the best thing they've done for voice notes.
And 5-minute voice notes.
I know, because I used to be like, oh my God, sorry, I don't know where it stopped. But anyway, let's start here. All of us have done it.
I know.
Realize the minute passed, we don't know where it stopped. We could just listen to find out, but we don't even want to listen to ourselves for the full minute to find out because they didn't let us 2x then. So we don't want to listen to it over again. So we just I don't know where it stopped, but let's just keep going.
I'm waiting for the day that Instagram steals Slack's auto transcripts on the voice notes. I won't have to listen to a person. I don't listen to anybody.
I don't listen to my people's. I look at the transcript. Voxer too. I look at your transcript. If I think it says something cool and I'm going to hear your tone, I might go back and listen. But for the most part, if it gives a transcript, I don't listen to the actual voice note. Yeah, I'm a reader too. I'm a mix of reading and 15xing your video while you're talking. You sound like a chipmunk at all times, so don't try hard to talk nicely for me. You sound like a chipmunk regardless when I'm listening. Podcast chipmunk.
I will say I listen to podcasts, but I think it's because I don't have to watch anything.
True.
You know?
Oh yeah, I can video podcast. I'm like, please, I want your video podcast.
Me who does a video podcast, I've never watched a video podcast.
It's because we
But
know that we're creating for our people. I said I hate YouTube. I am dedicated to YouTube. I hate Pinterest. Pinterest is brilliant. I use all of them for a reason.
So that's a good note. Do you have your profiles set up on apps even if you're not actively using them to market, or are you literally actively using everything?
I'm not actively using everything, though it would look that way. So I always make sure my clients know, do not, first of all, don't copy me. I work in this industry. I need to just test them out. No, I don't actively use all of them, but if you have a profile, it should be set up properly. So I tell people to set up, you have something, because you taught my members about repurposing content. So you call it something core content, but I also call it something core content. And that's the stuff that sits on your profiles that has to be there so that your brand is doing what it needs to do. Unfortunately, when someone Googles you, social profiles have a separate section on Google results. So they make them be the first result, especially LinkedIn and Facebook is really aggressive about being top, and Instagram, so Meta. Those profiles show up. So even if you decide that you hated Instagram or you hate Facebook, which Facebook, yikes. But I know that I have to make sure that that profile is legit because people go there. And so much of my traffic to my site comes from Facebook that I don't post on. So it's because I know that a lot of those platforms are interconnected. So those companies are pushing out stuff about you. And LinkedIn, we mostly had it from when we were like 20, starting at work. So just because you don't use it anymore, well, that says your name and everyone's going to go and be nosy and look at it. So if you decide that you don't want to update your profile, well, now your brand looks stupid out here and you don't want that. So I tell my clients, if you have a profile somewhere, either that profile has to be removed from the internet or you have to establish it so that it looks like and represents you like a website would. And then, yeah, don't touch it. You don't have to. I don't need you to be on these platforms, but the profile needs to be profiling.
That is so interesting because you made me think about the fact that I do constantly see like on when I do my analytics each month, I see like one person came over to my website from Facebook.
Facebook is so alone. Why are y'all coming from over here?
I think about deleting my Facebook account all the time, but I'm like, can I even delete my Facebook account? Like, I use Messenger.
They connect it with everything. I don't want to delete mine. You got to think about future. So I don't think about how I feel about an app today. I think about the future, what I might want to leverage and what the system comes with. So a lot of the most important data about people in Meta comes from Facebook specifically. So if you ever want to do paid ads and you want to profile people the correct way, it's a Facebook pixel that's helping you with your Instagram ads, not an Instagram pixel. It's called a Facebook pixel for a reason, because most of that data comes from Facebook and what Facebook knew about you. And Facebook does require you to usually have their accounts for a reason. So I would say, as much as most of us detest that app because we're not 70 years old, we should respect that that profile is still functioning and the pixel serves a function. And so you would need to keep that profile because you won't be able to run ads anyway in Meta properly without getting the proper data that comes from Facebook. So yeah, don't get rid of it. It's trash. Yeah. Don't get rid of it.
But that's my exact train of thought is I need it for ads. If I ever, run ads, by the way. I don't either. But I'm like, if I ever want to,
we're organic through and through. But if we want to run these ads, we know the data comes from Facebook. And I run ads occasionally, like every once in a blue moon, I'll get tricked into trying it, hate it, and stop. But my data is always dataing from Facebook, so keep it.
And I know, was it you? I think it was you that we talked about tracking, like what different data that we track and stuff.
Yes.
What did you say that you were tracking that I was like, why aren't I tracking that?
I commented on your post about it on Threads. I track where all of my like people are coming from, and I track that stuff daily. So, and mostly what I'm tracking is the sales page visitors. I track lead magnet page visitors, obviously conversions for both. And then outside of that, I track DM conversations that happen and stuff. So and I have all my members tracking that stuff. And the reason is because a lot of the lack of motivation for marketing comes from people just thinking that what they're doing isn't working, but they're counting what's working as engagement. And I'm the kind of person who buys from service providers without engage. I don't need to like your post. I'm looking at it and I secretly saved it for later. I went to your website. Maybe I didn't even save it because I already been stalking you. Like I would know your website's link. I don't need to save any of your posts to know that you do repurposing. So but I do want people to track it because what will surprise you, some of my members just got hit with this recently, and even I was marketing last month. I was launching specifically my membership, which came with me doing a challenge. So clearly I was just talking about a challenge in my membership. But I got 4 service clients and I had like hundreds of views to my services page. I'm like, I'm not even talking about my services. Not at all. There's no feed content on my main social platform, which is Instagram. I don't talk about my services. I had a person DM me and ask about one by name. She was like, I want to ask about coin collecting strategy. I was like, what? Where did you come from? She said she found me from Chat GPT. But when I look at my Google Analytics, I see a lot of traffic coming from Chat GPT because Chat gives you results when people do search. People do use Chat for search now. They use all of the AI for search engines, kind of like search engines. So if you exist on the internet, those search engines are going to give people your website. I've gotten people's website links in blog posts and articles when I'm doing research and I ask for references. It gives me the reference. She said it recommended me. And I was like, I know that Chat does that because it's one of the traffic drivers to my website. It's not high on the list, but it's up there and it's every month. And I was like, that's so when she said it, it didn't blow my mind. But what blew my mind is that I was focusing so much on what I felt like selling, which was my membership, but people cared about services. So I'm thinking maybe people don't want group right now. Maybe they want one-on-one. And had I been paying more attention on time, I would have probably shifted my content to focus on my services, which I didn't at the time. So I was like, I'm selling my membership. They're like, who cares? Who cares? And they went to my site to find what they wanted. So, say y'all better start tracking stuff because you think you're wasting your time or you think that you don't have to talk about every offer. If someone wants to work with you specifically, just because you're launching whatever you feel like launching, they don't want it. They're going to say, okay, well, let me see what else she has or whatever else he has on their website. And they're going to go to your website or go to whatever links you have and do their own research because we're nosy. We're not engaging with your stuff. Nosy.
No, it's very true. And like I literally just said the other day to someone because I posted about how my threads reach has dropped by 50% from December to January, and then January to February it dropped another 50%. And I was like, I don't know if it's because of selling, I don't know if it's the algorithm, what they're changing because they're bringing ads in. Not happy about that. But I also made a pivot in my marketing in February because I was like, I'm selling done for you. I'm selling my high ticket done for you. And I was like, I'm going to do this all Q1. Being like stubborn, like trying to be strict with myself so I wouldn't give up halfway through. And then looking at the data, I'm like, this isn't working on this platform because I was using Threads because Threads has been my big platform in 2024.
Yeah.
But Threads liked the remix to my like low ticket offer, and it was kind of like, okay, like I can keep selling done for you in email, on LinkedIn, because that's where I'm having like actual conversations that are leading somewhere. Where like my Threads conversations are all like fizzling out instantly, people being like, yeah, I saw it, looks cool, but nah. And I was like, okay, like the data is telling me this isn't it, and I need to shift it to like, let's do entry point and put the higher ticket elsewhere, So I think that when it comes to the omnipresent marketing strategy, data is a huge part of it. And like you said, you're making your members track their data, and it's not just like, oh, here's proof of what you're doing is working, but it is such a motivator be like, this isn't like what I thought I was doing, or like I made a sale from email, but actually that person joined my email list after stalking me on Threads for 3 months and
Yep.
bought that day after
Yep.
listening to 3 podcasts, and it's like,
Absolutely.
it's
You
not
need to
just
know
what
that.
link did they click all the time.
No, and you brought up a good point. It is important, especially with omnipresence, because you can mess around and be on way too many platforms and then you'll discover some of those work better than others. And so
Mhm.
it will kind of help you to determine when you're in those seasons of not having as much capacity or energy, where should you then exert that energy that you have left? And it's like, okay, I know where to prioritize. I know where to prioritize in times when I'm like lower energy or like have less capacity. And it's because I do look at that data and I'm like, oh, and then I look at not just where the leads come from, but where conversions happen. And that's often very different from where the lead started from. And so looking at that stuff and tracking it has been like a real big eye opener, even for me as a marketing person in the last year. I'm like, man, I wasn't looking, I'm not going to lie, y'all, I wasn't looking at any of this data. Really wasn't. I wasn't really pressed for that. I looked at it. I had Google Analytics always. I would occasionally look, but I think the data I was looking at was like how much money I made. I wasn't actually looking at paths of where people were coming. I wasn't looking at like so microscopically until recently. And like in the last year, I've become a little bit obsessed with it. And I was like, man, that's why I said I hate YouTube, but I use it. I get a lot of random sales from it for like my digital shop, which is something I dreamed of being passive. They're like, make money in your sleep. Yeah, you can't do that if you don't have a money in your sleep platform, because that means you have to talk about it when you're awake otherwise. And I'm not doing that. So yeah, the data just kind of will surprise you, save you time, make you not feel crazy.
I
Like,
agree. And like,
yeah.
I keep adding more data that I track. Like in 2024, I started tracking my sales, not like just the numbers, but where they came from when they fill out their onboarding form. Like, what I
Mm.
asked 2 questions: where did you find me, and what piece of content made you buy or
Ooh, that's
convinced you to
a good
buy?
one.
And so
Ooh.
like from there, I like started tracking that, and I have a chart that it's like, I say like, this person bought this, and this is where they found me, and this is what convinced them to buy, or this was their reason for
Mm.
buying. And at the end of the year, I could see everyone found me from Threads.
Mm.
And it wasn't, sometimes it was like both were Threads. They saw Threads, they bought from Threads. But a lot of the times it would be, I listened to your podcast, and that was the one that convinced them to buy. But nobody found me through my podcast,
Yeah,
And it's
no,
like
I don't think that's a
that.
Discover platform. Mm-mm.
Exactly. And like that understanding of like, my podcast is my middle of funnel platform. My Threads account is my top of funnel. My email ends up usually being bottom of funnel. And like understanding where those are really helped with my content, which is all repurposed. But
Yeah,
like knowing like what points to hit on which platform specifically to
that's dope.
help those people along.
I love that. I'm gonna totally do that. Like,
Do
my
it.
forms are gonna get longer. Thank you for that idea.
Mine's just like not a checkbox, but like a drop down of like, pick one, So it's like
Mm.
just the bottom of the
Even
form.
for like the content, like even for like which piece of content, does that
Yeah,
like
which
open?
piece, if I say like which piece of content, it's like which platform,
Okay, I got you, got
not
you, got
like
you.
specific, like tell me the piece of
Oh,
content.
fine. I was like, oh my
Which
God.
I
So
think
you
they
know
wouldn't
how
answer
good
if I
that
did
would be
that.
good. I know. That's all I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, and you're getting answers for this? How juicy. Okay, fine. That seems easier.
Yeah, no. Is there anything else you would like to add that people need to know about omnipresent marketing, data, how it all works together?
Let me think. I would say that something that is really important when you're starting with omnipresence is just having a little bit of patience to give the data that we just talked about time to give you answers. Like sometimes I think when we're starting to spread ourselves a little bit more, so like being in more places or contributing content to those places when we're normally not doing that, there's kind of this unrealistic expectation for instant results or again, instant gratification, which is very much exclusive almost to social media. Other platforms don't work that way. And so I want people to change their mindset around marketing success and how that looks, and to allow that success time to happen, because I believe that momentum is the most important thing when it comes to marketing. Like, your success in marketing often and usually comes from momentum if it's going to be sustainable. You can have the success overnight that you see the people who, made $1 billion from their launch, but those people were doing 50,000 things a day for like 3 months straight. And you don't want to do that. So if you don't want to have to do that, you're going to have to set the system up and actually watch it and allow it time to build up that momentum. Because once that momentum happens, it's actually really hard to stop that momentum. And you get to slow down and continue at your chill pace with that momentum intact. But when you start and stop because you're frustrated and you keep switching things, all you're doing is jacking up the momentum. It's not because you switched the platform or that algorithm now sucks today. It's actually you just lost momentum. So I would just kind of say that that's something I want people to kind of look out for and to aim for momentum, and not necessarily aim for instant gratification markers that we're used to tracking and obsessing over.
I completely agree. And I literally watch my business benefit from momentum when I know I'm building it. And so if you feel like you're not seeing things, maybe you just need to go a little bit farther to get that momentum to where it needs to be, to see the results that you're looking for. Because if you stop too soon, the momentum stops building
It
as well.
immediately stops. And also, I feel like all of my periods of burnout came from me changing up something, which stops the momentum every time, actually. And I am, we're marketing people by profession, so we can pull something out of thin air and still make something kind of shake. But all of us get tired at some point, and we can't keep doing that. So now that you've jacked up that momentum and you're tired, now you're put in a position of those high pressure marketing strategies. That's why you are very hyper dependent on launches and stuff. That's where that comes from. It's the loss of momentum that forces you there. So yeah.
Ooh, so good, so good.
That's so
I feel like that was the perfect note to end on.
good.
The question that I ask everyone who comes on this show before they leave is, what makes you an unprofessional entrepreneur?
Oh my God, I curse so much. So much. Like when I'm uploading my podcast, it's a little thing that you have to mark for explicit. Yes, please. Every time I'm doing my stories with the captions, I have to stop it from bleeping me, and I go and rewrite the curse word, like put it back, like I asked for you to do it. When I'm talking to new people, sometimes I'm like, oh, I hope, because I get a lot of religious people. I'm like, so sorry, but they understand. They don't care, because this is the mouth you got. My mom was from New York. She talked crazy when I was a kid, and now it seems normal to me. So there you go.
I love it. And I love it because the last person I asked also was like, all I do is swear. Thank you.
I get so passionate, but my passion comes with expletives. 1,000%.
So where can the people find you? What are you up to? What's going on in your world?
You can find me on the socials at Her Marketing Coach, primarily Instagram and Threads. My website is hermarketingcoach.com, and my best resource is called the Anti-Launch Class, antilaunchclass.com or antilaunch.com, one of those things. She'll give you the right link. It's antilaunch.com.
It'll be linked in the show notes, yes. Whichever one is the right one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. And I'm so excited for everyone to get their takeaways and come send you their messages of how much they loved it.
Please do. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.